Hello, everyone. Good evening. And first of all, I would like to welcome you all for attending the interviewing post-pandemic session organized by Bharatiyam USA. And I would like to first announce that this whole session is going to be recorded and the video is going to be on YouTube as well. Next slide, please. This is our motto in Bharatiyam. So if the entire Indian diaspora with multiple generations and varied expertise can lend a helping hand to each other and work as a single community, the entire community could reach greater heights and contribute better to both India and the United States. Next slide, please. Bharatiyam is a platform of Indian origin students, campus organizations, scholars, and working professionals in the United States. Their aim is to create a community that promotes strength, growth, and nurtures leadership. Currently, our network includes 15 plus student organizations, 500 plus scholars and professionals from diverse fields, including technology, arts, medicine, management, and consulting. Next slide, please. We have three major councils in Bharatiyam. The first one is a Scholars Council, in which we organize events to connect faculty and scholars. And as a part of this, we also do Indic Connections, where we discuss the life stories of faculty. And in Student Council, we have Avas, which is a forum to share and discuss ideas. And we have the Geek Talk and also an opportunity to connect with Indian student organizations. And in the Professional Council, we conduct talks and events of interest to young professionals and also have networking events with students and professionals. Next slide, please. If you're interested in volunteering at Bharatiyam, you can email us at info@bharatiyam.usa, or you can use any of our social media handles that are mentioned on this page. You can join our Bharatiyam announcements group by scanning this QR code. We'll let it stay on for like a couple of minutes so that you have a chance to scan it. Yeah. Okay, so now I would like to introduce you all to our panelists today. First of all, I would like to thank all three of you, Ms. Renuka Krishnaswamy, Mr. Kumar Palakonda, and also Mr. Leela the Sharma, for agreeing to be a part of the session and giving your insights about how interviewing has changed post-pandemic. Firstly, I would like to introduce Ms. Renuka Krishnaswamy. Ms. Renuka holds a bachelor degree in Arts and Economics from RPD College at Belgaum. Following that, she did an MBA in HR and Marketing from Kirloskar Institute of Advanced Management Studies at Harrier. And after her MBA, she worked as a junior manager at General Southwest and then worked as a technical recruiter for Positive Results and Recruit Incorporated. She later became an HR manager and talent acquisition specialist at Sigmoid in Santa Clara, California. And she is currently a technical recruiter and sourcer for Amazon Web Services in Palo Alto, California. Welcome, Ms. Renuka, and thanks for agreeing to be on the panel.
Thanks for having me here.
And second, we have Mr. Kumar Palakonda. He holds a bachelor's in chemical engineering degree from Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, and he has a master's in chemical engineering from University of Louisiana at Lafayette. After his master's, he worked as a process engineer for Albemarle, followed as a process engineer at CB&I Loomis Technology, and then as a production engineer at Cambrex, and then as a plant manager in Wilmington Pharmatech Company, LLC. He's currently a manager of operations and engineering at Piramal Pharma Solutions in Michigan. Welcome, Mr. Palakonda, and thanks for agreeing to be on this panel.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
And next we have Mr. Leela the Sharma. He holds a bachelor degree in computer science from Acharya Nagarjuna University in Andhra Pradesh. He started his career in Wipro Technologies and moved to US to complete his master's in computer science from Lamar University, Texas. After his completion of master's, he joined Bose Corporation as a software developer, and he's currently working in MathWorks in external interfaces team as the lead developer. Welcome, Mr. Leela the Sharma, and again, thanks for being on the panel.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, and before I hand it over to the speakers, I would like to inform our audience that if you have any questions, please mention which speaker you're directing the question to, and you can send it to our Q&A handle. And after all our three speakers have finished their presentations, I will ask them the specific questions. And now I would like to hand over the floor to Ms. Renuka.
Hi, everyone. I'd rather go by Mrs. Renuka. And let's keep it interactive. Keep your cameras on if possible, or else I'm feeling like I'm speaking to a wall right here. Thank you. So I did have a presentation. Can somebody share it? Thank you. Yeah, as Neha rightly said, I'm a lead recruiter at Amazon Web Services. Office is based out of Palo Alto, and my major focus is software development hiring. Next slide, please. Yeah, since this is Bharatiyam, we are all from Bharat, I would like to start with a small prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunatu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Next slide, please. So yes, the major focus today is how the interviews have changed post-pandemic. As of now in US, you can see that the job openings have increased. I was reading an article in CNBC which mentions that right now there are 5 million more job openings compared to the manpower that is available. So if you are looking for a job right now, this is the best period to be in. Next slide, please. So yeah, most important thing that has happened is the interviews have moved online. So back then, before the pandemic, sometimes we would have the first round that would be a technical phone screen on, of course, on the phone or on videos. And then when it came to the on-site interview part, it would always be in person. So even if Amazon, right, even if this was positioned for Seattle, you would literally be flied into Seattle and you had to go in and meet the people, meet the panel, get your interview done and come back. So this has changed now. Right now, everything is moved to online. So what does this mean to you as a candidate? So first of all, it means that you don't have to spend too much of time in the commute, as in you would have to plan your visit if it's out of your city, you'd have had to plan your visit. So that has definitely changed. And then interview etiquettes have changed. And this is really very important because, right, you wouldn't be used to such things, right? Right now, when you say the interviews have moved to online, that means that everybody would be taking your interviews most probably from your home or such a place, definitely not your office space. So that being said, you need to make sure your video is good, your audio is good, that there's no background clutter as in audio clutter or even video clutter. Like I have seen candidates take interviews with their bed in the background and the bed is not even made, right? So the best advice I would give is try to see if you can take the call with a plain wall in the background. So that means that there's no unwanted clutter, which is distracting. Make sure the lighting is good and other things. Make sure you're dressed well. So I see people joking, hey, it's just a video call. You can just, dress well and then wear pajamas. No, you shouldn't be doing that because you dress for the job that you want, not the one that you have, right? So that being said, if you dress properly, you get the confidence. right? So that is one thing. Do your makeup, do your hair, look good, feel good, and that would translate into the interview also. Then your body language. One small tip is try to mirror the interviewer's body language. If they lean forward, you lean forward. If they lean back, you lean back. That way, what happens is the interviewer somewhere they feel, hey, this candidate is a little bit like me. So that would work for you. And then ask clarifying questions. So that is very important because sometimes interviews are laid such that they want to see if the candidate is asking clarifying questions. That is one of the things that we discussed. Did they ask clarifying questions? So sometimes the questions that are asked you are a little bit not clear. So you can ask questions on that. And then when it comes to your target company, find out more about your target company, find out what they do, find out what their interview process is. Because companies, especially when it comes to FANG, which is now Manga, Meta, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, all these, they have their own cultures, interview cultures. And Amazon has something called leadership principles. A lot of emphasis is laid on this when you interview. So that is very important. So just make sure you know about that and you prepare accordingly. And again, when it comes to these bigger companies, if you ask your recruiter, they will give you some prep material which would help you prepare. So this is with regard to the interview etiquettes. Post-interview. Post-interview, two things I would suggest, or rather one thing, send a thank you note to your recruiter saying, hey, thanks for giving this opportunity to speak with the interviewer or to speak with this particular company. And what are the key takeaways? Like you can say, hey, I had this conversation with this person and I find that was interesting. Or you can say, I have this skill and I feel that would be beneficial for your company. Right? That's one thing. And then if you do not hear back from them, send a short follow-up note a week later. Next slide, please. Okay, method of job application. So pre-pandemic, if you had to apply for a job, there were two main places. One was the company's website, and the second was job boards. Job boards like Dice, Monster, Indeed. Right now, I see the trend that these job boards have become a little bit redundant. The company websites remain the same, but for me as a recruiter, when I am searching for candidates, in addition to my company website, a major place I would go to is LinkedIn. And I'll touch upon LinkedIn, how you can enhance your LinkedIn in the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, resume length. So pre-pandemic, I would say on an average, a resume used to be around 7 pages. This was like on an average, if someone had 7+ years of experience, they would have like 7-8 pages of resume. But right now, the recommended length is 2 to 3 pages. Let's assume that you have a lot to mention and you want the recruiter to take a look at that. You can keep 2 versions. But first apply always with the shorter version and then let your recruiter know that I have an extended version if you would want to take a look. The reason behind this is the attention span of people has reduced. This is one of the reasons. So just try to be as brief as possible. Are cover letters important? No comments on that because to be frank upfront, I personally do not have the time to look at cover letters. I would just go ahead and look at the resumes. Next slide, please. LinkedIn ethics. Can you just give me 10 seconds? I'll just be back. I'm so sorry. So LinkedIn etiquettes, I cannot specify or stress enough of the importance of having a good LinkedIn profile. So when I say that, make sure, first of all, that you have a picture up there. And then the reason why LinkedIn is important is a lot of people check your LinkedIn. One of my colleagues' daughters got into Purdue University, and she was telling me that the college people checked her LinkedIn profile before they went ahead and gave her an offer to get into the college. This is for college. So a lot of people you know and you do not know would be checking your LinkedIn profile, like your future employers, your future colleagues, or your present colleagues, or your alumni. So make sure that you are presentable. When I say presentable, it should be a good headshot of yourselves, preferably taken professionally. If not, that's fine. But just make sure it's not in a vague place with a lot of clutter in the background, or pictures of you in a party having a drink, or in a family gathering, or in a wedding, or with your pet, on a beach near your college. These are definitely not recommended. And then there is a way where when you can add a URL, specific URL to your LinkedIn. So my handle is linkedin.com/Renuka Krishnaswamy. So or else it generates very random names, which does not really look good. You should be adding this in your resume also. So that being said, then another suggestion is give and take recommendations. Not many people check, but it's always a good habit. You can give good recommendations, and you can take recommendations from your colleagues, from your peers, from your classmates, from your professor. It creates a good impression. And then in your LinkedIn, what should you be adding? Let's assume you've worked in Starbucks for a couple of years. Do you add it or not? I would recommend that you should add it, because you are what you are because of your diverse background, and anything and everything that you add would create a good impression. And yeah, connection requests, right? So right now I see the trend that people say, hey, if you want to interview for Amazon, you should go ahead and reach out. You should connect with the recruiters there. And then I get a lot of such requests, and then a lot of messages saying, hey, I'm looking for a job here. The way it works for big companies is us recruiters are responsible for a certain set of requirements. Like I said it in the initial stage, right? I'm responsible for software development engineering roles. I'm responsible for software manager roles. I'm responsible for front-end engineer roles. So if a business analyst, for example, reaches out to me, I wouldn't have the requisition. I wouldn't have the bandwidth to help. Same applies to fresh graduates. I do not have openings for fresh graduates. So if you reach out to me and if you send a message, I wouldn't have the bandwidth all the time to respond saying, hey, I don't have a requirement, or I would not be able to help you out. That being said, as a recruiter, I would suggest not to do that. But then I don't know about the other people. So this is when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. Next slide, please. Okay. I think one thing I wanted to touch base upon was your resume. When I did say 2-3 pages, and a few more pointers there is, do not add unwanted sentences, like filler sentences, like expertise in, or experienced in, or familiar with, and things like that. One more thing, when you apply to bigger companies, they have something called an ATS, applicant tracking system. So when you add your resume, it tries to simplify it, and it comes to the recruiter's page in a very weird way. So what I say is, when you add your resume, just make sure that you do not have any fancy stickers or boxes or the certification images of certifications, things like that, because it just messes up the system. So just make sure your resume is in the plainest format as possible, with the least number of sentences as possible, no boxes, And colors also, right? I would recommend just keep it to plain black. Let's assume blue is your favorite color and you add it in a resume. So sometimes the recruiter might not like it, and that's not something that you do not want to do it. Just plain and simple black is the way to go. Other social media platforms. Highly recommended to follow the companies, your target company. Keep a few target companies, follow them so that you can understand the work that they do and how you can contribute. So, and also sometimes these companies add jobs that they have, and that would be a good idea also. Then Facebook, I did come across a lot of groups for like-minded individuals. Like I'm part of many recruiter groups. So same way you might, whatever is your expertise in, you can always join that so that you can give and take knowledge. LinkedIn also has a lot of groups where you can join. GitHub, this is specifically if you are a techie. So GitHub and Stack Overflow, you can make contributions in different places. So that would be a good exercise for you. And also me as recruiter, we sometimes, when I start searching for resumes, one of the places I go for is GitHub. And I look at how many contributions someone has made and try and reach out to the candidate. And GitHub also, if you are a techie, you can add your GitHub handle in addition to your LinkedIn project profile on your resume. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Renika ji, for that very informative presentation. And thank you. And now we'll move on to Mr. Kumar.
Oh, hi guys. Just give me a second. I'll share the screen here. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, I'll make it short. All right, I'll just go in high level. Basically, every applicant falls into three buckets. One is an entry level, mid-senior level, and experienced level. I think I'll just focus on entry level here because I think there's a lot of audience who are relatively having less than 1 year or, young graduates coming out of the school. For entry level, the company doesn't spend much time, in my experience. Me as a hiring manager, I don't spend much time in scouting for profiles. I just pick 1 or 2 profiles and then just move on, pick the candidate and then move on. I only look for a few things in the resume because the number of applicants in the market are huge, as Renika mentioned. So if the hiring process and the interview process is taking a long time to scout just the profiles, the applicants or some other employer would just hire the person and they would just keep moving. So for entry level, the hiring process is always short and it is always quick. The hiring managers only scout 2 or 3 profiles at the maximum, and then they move on to the next profile. 99% of the time, they pick the candidate in the first 2-3 profiles. And when it comes to entry-level positions, if you have a precursor experience, like an internship experience or a small project experience, your profile will be picked over other resume, which is just based on educational experience. So I always say in the last year, try to do some industrial project or try to apply for internship and make sure you put that, even if you do a college project, try to refer that into industrial language, like you actually work through industrial folks, or you try to put some keywords in there that actually attributes to the industry experience if you want your resume to stand out in those 1 or 2 profiles. And the next I would say is the hiring process typically for entry levels, it's aptitude test. And my experience being in core industry, I'm not sure how software industry works, but in core industry, all my interviews, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, there's nothing called pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, maybe little changes, but everyone that I interviewed, they're supposed to come on site. because I let them go through the facility. They have to look at the systems. The behavior is well known on site rather than on Teams or Zoom or so I personally prefer to have the individual come on site, and I've done that pre-pandemic, and I'm also doing it now. And we most of the core industries are emergency workers, so they are not virtual yet. They are still working on site. So the pandemic has really no effect, rather than uh, in a way the opportunities increased, as Renika mentioned, but it is still on-site interviews as far as I know for most of the companies. And the next one would be on-site or virtual. Again, I kind of mentioned in bold depending on the type of industry, but yeah. So interview is 1 to 2 candidates to make the decision. And most important thing is the company, like me as a hiring manager, the company or the department would not like to spend too much money, or they don't want to put too much hiring expenses for hiring an entry-level candidate, because they're hiring entry-level candidate to have that person trained and to get the work done within the group. They're not hiring an experience level where they want to change a system or implement a system, or to, it's not strategic hiring. 90% of the time, the entry-level hiring is being a part of the team. So most of the hiring managers or the company, they don't like to spend too much money on hiring expenses. It's really quick. They scout 1 or 2 profiles and they just hire the candidates, in my experience. Then I would, one suggestion for all the people who are graduating out is, I have talked to a lot of people recently, and most of the people are not really aware of how many opportunities are out there and in what fields they can approach. Someone from mechanical, electrical, chemical, metallurgical, or biosciences, or how many of our core streams are there. I would just focus on core industry here because I don't have much experience in IT. So you could technically go into oil and gas, fine chemicals, R&D, pharmaceuticals, steel, cement, design, construction, statistics, support groups, EHS, sales groups, consulting. There is a wide range of platforms where an young professionals can chime into to look for an opportunity. And every sector has top 5 or 6 companies that actively hire internships during the spring season. So if you go and scout for the hiring managers in LinkedIn, there, I'm pretty sure every individual will find an opportunity to have the internship experience on their resume. Even if they don't have the internship experience, I would still suggest to go into the LinkedIn and actively start applying, or reach out to the hiring managers and HR managers. If they reply, they reply. If they don't reply, you don't really lose anything. But I would suggest don't lose your dollar by not talking to the person. That's my suggestion, and that's how I always did, and it kind of helped me. And the next thing is, it's very important. The length of the profile should only be 1 page. I don't even read through two pages, like when a profile comes to me for an entry level or 1 or 2 years experience, because there shouldn't be much in 1 to 2 years to write 4 or 5 pages of resume. It should be short, concise. It should be point to point. So max 1 page is what I would recommend. And then in the back end, I would still keep 4 to 5 resumes, because a lot of people, you don't want to apply for all the jobs through 1 resume. You want to change few trigger words. Like when I personally scout, if I'm hiring 2 individuals, I go into LinkedIn and I actually search in LinkedIn. Okay, process engineers, pharmaceutical, and then I do a search, and then if someone really interests me, I just reach out to them. Same way, even the HRs, I tell them, put in the keywords and look in the LinkedIn, and then go from there. So make sure your keywords are always there on the resume that matches your job description. Don't go with 1 resume fits everyone. It doesn't work all the time. And then I would say, take advantage of LinkedIn premium accounts to reach out to recruiting people. The $30 that you spend for the premium account is the best investment to build up your network, because Even though the person is not useful to you, down the line when you have experience, the same person might be helpful for you. So I would say the $30 premium account is the best. Reach out and send connections as many as you can in those 30 days. That's my suggestion. And then for hiring manager for entry-level interview, these are my key suggestions. I look for being open and transparent. I look for communication skills, eye-to-eye contact. I don't want someone looking, playing around in the video, or, I want to have eye-to-eye contact. If he or she workable with, if someone is too much argumental in just the interview process, I don't think any hiring manager would go with that profile, because attitude is key in every corporate sector. Because in my opinion, you can teach the skill, but not the attitude most of the times. So don't be argumental in the interview. If someone says, oh, okay, how you want to respond to this, if you're not sure, just say you're not sure. If you know, talk about it. If you don't know, say I don't know. But don't try to play around and try to make up answers, because it is very evident if someone is bluffing around a question. So that's my suggestion. And the last thing is application knowledge. Try to focus on the application knowledge and not the subject knowledge. Because young graduates, if someone is asking a question, hey, what did you do there? Try to give an example how you applied it. Because at the end of the consensus meeting, people would actually say, when people talk, if I have to hire that person or not to hire that person, people would actually count on number of examples the person has given, rather than just reading out your resume again and again to the interviewer. So I would say give a specific example where you have, kind of showcased your technical knowledge or a situation. And last but not the least, need to do some homework on the role and the company before any interview. You got to know ins and outs of the company. Even though you are at entry level, you have to know minimum basics of the company, and you have to know a little bit about the job. Try to scout for similar profiles. If you're applying for manufacturing engineer, try to look for 5 manufacturing engineer positions in 5 different company profiles. See how this profile is different from another profile. Try to get the gist of it. And last but not the least, never write something in the resume for a 1 to 2 level experienced person that, oh, I completed a project within 3-day timeline. I did. Don't take the credit for yourself, because it is not practically possible to take credit for yourself with, at an entry level. So always make sure you're a team player. So just mention that, oh yeah, I worked in a team for this project, or make sure you are more into a team player, because that's what the company or the hiring manager will look for. Okay, is he workable with? Can he work in teams? That's the important thing even I look for in the profiles. And then I would just leave it to question and answers. But again, last but not the least, for me, the important point is you really have to know in which field you are getting into. Like if you're an electrical engineer, then do you want to be in, you can also go into environmental health and safety. You can also go into core electrical. You can also go into software, because now it's open for everyone. You really have to know what you have to go into. You just because you need to get a job, if you pick some job, end of the day or down the line, it's going to come and catch you again. And if people are not having visa sponsorship issues, or people are having a citizenship, I think they would have more opportunities. But even if people don't have the visa to work, or if they are on EAD or OPT, there are a lot of companies still that are actively hiring for OPT candidates. And if someone wants suggestions on chemical industries and who is hiring and where the positions are, you guys can reach out to me or send me an email. I would be more than happy to let you know, because I pretty much keep track on, I'm up to date on LinkedIn all the time. so I know where active hiring is going on. So if someone is looking for a jobs in specific North Carolina or Michigan or Texas or which industry, I can definitely reach out to my network and let you guys know where the hiring is going on. But just don't end up taking some job because it's going to come and bite you guys down the line. So that's the only suggestion that I want to give. And yeah, any questions, just leave me a message and I'll get back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Palakonda. And I think the insights that you gave are very helpful for entry level. And as most of our audience are students, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very helpful for them. And thanks for offering to help us in case we are looking for jobs in similar fields as well.
And right now, I am hiring for one process engineer role. Again, the requirement is to have at least 2 to 3 years of industrial experience because the role is expected to not go through a full course training program rather than to get kicked on the project. So we are not going through but if someone has some overseas experience, because some people work in India and then come, like in my case, I worked for 3 years in India and then I came for master's, but someone who has worked in India and who has pharmaceutical experience, API experience, just reach out to me. I'm hiring. I have one position right now. But again, if you guys are looking for somewhere else, I can definitely help you out where the hiring is going on with my other colleagues.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Next, we have Mr. Leela the Sharma.
Hello everyone. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, cool. My name is Leela the Sharma. I'm a software lead at MathWorks. So by the time like profile reaches to me, right, I'm purely responsible of check that specific person is like how technical he is. So my presentation will be like completely of like what I see in a specific basically from that specific person. So but for a fresher, right, so how his roadmap to be like to crack the interview is, first he has to like identify. I'm talking only about like the software industry. I'm not giving any like another industry example. And in software industry, like it's very vast. You can become a developer, like write programs. You can be a DevOps engineer. You can learn a specific tool and you can basically like work on the tool and become an expertise of that specific tool. So it's very vast. So I'm talking specifically about like if you want to become a developer. So if you want to become a developer, right, what you have to do first is like you have to select what type of programming language you want to do. There are like multiple programming languages, but you have to select one. And like you have to learn all the basics, what that programming language, why the programming language is being used, how to write a code, what does that code do, what would be the syntax. And second step is like he has to learn solving algorithms. Like this is the core important skill for a software developer to write it. So there are like multiple websites. I would suggest for a fresher or for experienced candidate to go through the Lead Code or a HackerRank websites and solve how many problems they can basically, because there are like very hard problems, very like complex problems, but what you learn through those Lead Code and HackerRank is basically the problem solving skills. If any specific problem is given to you, they are not seeing that whether you are able to like completely solve that problem or not, but they'll try to find out what process are you taking to solve that problem and how are you thinking to solve that problem. So the process of thinking is most important in algorithms. And like if you want to write an algorithm, period to algorithm, like you have to know all the syntaxes, you have to know data structures. And once you learned how to write algorithm and you know like what data structures are and all those technical details, then the next level of concept is called designing. they'll give you a design problem, ask you like how will you design any specific class. If he's an intern, nowadays like the whole interview process is being changing. Like for an intern also, like I don't see like if he's an intern or if he's an like 8 years experience. Yeah, for 8 years experience, I give him the hard problem. But for intern also, like I try to ask him like give him an algorithm, a simpler algorithm, try to check what his data structure skills, and if any problem is given, how he's able to design a class or how he's able to like design the complete software. I'll try to like get the end-to-end architectural knowledge, how he's able to handle it. Further, like I have like first you have to like work hard. It's a straight away. You have to like sit, learn. You have to like spend time on learning all the technical skills. Once you have like got through like 2 to 3 months practicing code, writing code, and you have developed your skill, then you have to like come up and spend time on like like doing a connections, creating your resume, and you have to like start applying to the jobs. Because before only if you start applying to the jobs, you'll fail the interviews. So my process is like learn the skill for like 2 months or 3 months, sit, work hard, and then like and then come up and write the resume. Because writing a resume is also like it's very important. It's not like straightforward, like whatever, like you cannot write anything in it. Whatever you mention in your resume, they are going to take that specific point and they are going to ask details about it. Now let's take an example. Like if I mention like I know Java, then I'll keep on asking what do you know in Java, how do you create threads, and I'll keep on going asking deeper and deeper. So writing a resume, like you have to spend time, you have to sit and you have to like write point to point. That is like the most important thing you have to do. Second thing is like when you go to a lead code or a hacker rank portal, you'll able to like do some practice exercises, like how you want to give the interview. There are like mock interview sessions. You have to watch those videos so that you'll gain that knowledge. You have to prepare yourself. Like there are like so many basic questions, like these are like definitely they are going to ask you, and you have to like write down, you have to prepare for those questions beforehand. Like for example, they'll ask you like why are you applying to this specific position. So you have to know what that position is and what the job description given to you, and you have to know like why are you applying to that specific position. You have to relate that I have passion towards doing that specific job, and I have that specific like skill set also, and I'm able to like complete that specific skill set. They'll ask you like after 5 years where you want to see yourself, or all those information, like introduce about yourself. So I'll tell you like my example, what I have done, like at MathWorks, right? Like when I was joining MathWorks, the position what they have given, what I have applied was like external interfaces. So I have changed my resume. I have worked on my resume, stating such a way that how my resume will fit to that specific external interfaces. External interfaces is like if you want to like convert Java objects to C++, how you do that's completely the technical details. But I mentioned them that I know multiple languages and I can code in multiple languages and I can correlate those multiple languages and I can convert. So my resume was projecting that specific skill set, because you need to know multiple languages. Like I know C++, Python, and all those information. So see the specific job requirement, know like what they are asking for, change your resume like what they are asking accordingly, and project yourself, and be confident about like whatever you are mentioning actually. And like getting a referral, it helps in US actually. Try to find out, go through the LinkedIn, try to find out if there are like common friends, and to the position what you are applying, like try to ask them to refer and send them your resume to them, and like try to get a referral. That's helpful is what I feel. And before pandemic, how I was interviewing, and after pandemic how I was interviewing is like, before pandemic, I was like when that specific person comes to in campus, I used to like we have like a conference room, like there where we have a whiteboard, and I give him a marker and ask him to write a program on the board. So like otherwise I try to tell him like this is a specific requirement, do the system design. So he has to literally like write all the code. He has to explain me in detail like what he's doing. Uh, so at that time the advantage was like if he misses any kind of syntax also, it's fine for me, because at the time like I'll not check like what's the syntax he's mentioning. I'll check like how he's designing and his problem solving skills basically. But now in the like in the pandemic, what I was doing is like we have a hacker rank link. I shared that hacker rank link to him, and I tried to, like there we have a board like where he can write the code. And if he writes the code, like if there are any kind of syntax errors, the software identifies and tells that there is a syntax error. So that's the disadvantage right now. Like you have to like learn up, you have to like practice, you have to like be perfect like writing in syntax or anything. uh, l- and and one of the step is like a presentation. So math works basically like when a person comes in person at the time of in-person interview, we have to give a presentation, and that presentation lasts like around like 40 minutes, where he'll tell about himself and what is a like complex problem he has solved or he has designed. That's the like basic question like what we ask. But in teams, now we have changed completely. Like uh, in the conference room, like when he's giving a presentation at live, we see his like body language, we see how confident he is, and if there are any kind of conflicts, then how he's resolving those type of conflicts in the conference room. But at the time of like in the teams, like we are not able to identify like his body language, but we'll try to like check how confident he is. But there are like a lot of things you have advantage over than in going in person. And remote positions like mathworks, like there's no like work from home culture at all. But now like as the pandemic hits, like we have moved towards the work from home culture, and we have opened a lot of like remote positions. And if you have like any questions, or if you have like anything, if you want any kind of like if you're stuck at any kind of a problem in any kind of a technical challenge in the software industry, or if you want to know like how to prepare for the interview, like if you have any questions, you can send me an email or reach me out directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leela. It was very informative from the perspective of software jobs. And I hope this, like whatever our speakers have told so far, is helpful for our audience. We have tried to bring in HR perspective and a perspective from a core job, and also a perspective from the software side. And we have a couple of questions from the audience. So I will, and they're directed. So I would like to start the Q&A session. And audience, again, if you have any specific questions, you can post it in the chat for our Q&A handle. And you can tell us whom you want to ask this question to specifically, so that I can direct it to them. The first question is for Renuka ji. The question is, the experience of going through interview rounds with some of the big tech companies is that the interview rounds are harder to crack than carrying out the responsibilities of that role itself. Is this an attempt to try to filter through the best candidates, or is there some other deliberate reason behind this?
Yes, I would agree with you. The interview is harder than the work in itself, because if you see at my profile, I was with the startup before, I was at the staffing agency, and right now after cracking the interview with Amazon, I'm right here. So if you see my stress level, personally speaking, it is the same. The work is different, it is challenging, but it's interesting. There is no change as such, but the pay is better, of course. The interview was very difficult, but what I see when it comes to my staffing agency or other companies and here is definitely it's the best of brains out here. So I would say that interviews are tough to crack, but once you get in, it's the same kind of work that you would have to do elsewhere.
Okay. Thank you. And now our question is for Kumarji. Having picked chemical engineering, there are diverse career paths one can choose, from food and beverage to petrochemicals to materials and mining. For someone still in their early in their career, how would you recommend choosing a specific career path? I know you covered about this a little bit in your presentation.
That's a good question. I myself started in steel industry, cement industry, moved to pharmaceuticals, moved to bioenergy, moved to oil and gas, moved to pharmaceuticals back again. I think, again, it depends to the individual. End of the day, I found manufacturing has more stability for the job in United States over any other sector. And in a way, I like manufacturing because you're always interacting with multiple folks on the floor rather than just being at your desk. In production and manufacturing, the amount of time people spend at the desk is maybe 10 to 20%. The remaining 80% or 70%, they are, or maybe at least minimum 50%, they are out on the floor with the machinery, with the equipment, with the production, with the problems, solving the problems on the floor, talking to the people on the floor. That's what I like doing it. And I also worked in design firm where now there are also remote options there, but you have to really write every hour what you're doing on the time clock. I mean, for me, that is stupid because you really can't account every hour in an 8-hour job. You need some time for collaboration. You need some time for talking to the people. You need some time to get around, know things. You need some time for your own learning. Every job needs Google. You know, you have to open Google. You have to do. You can't put I Google for 2 hours on a task. So for me, I've been in those situations too. So I personally lean towards manufacturing because you don't have to go through all this chaos to just do your 8-hour job. But the core principles are more applied in oil and gas over any other industry. Like, you know, you apply heat transfer, mass transfer, engineering, mixing principles, you know, thermodynamic principles, a lot of principles in oil and gas than in manufacturing. Manufacturing, you don't apply many principles, but it is a stable job. And you are busy all the time. So I like that. So that's how I ended up in manufacturing. And I decided to be in manufacturing. But I think you have to experience yourself. Again, if you're more interested just to do remote, I don't think you will get into any manufacturing job. Now you're locking yourself only for, you know, design companies where you can work remotely. I have few friends who are working with me in manufacturing, and now they went into complete 100% remote because now they want to go into remote and they want to relocate to Texas or in any other place. So, and now they have their own complaints of manufacturing was much better than in working in remote. And I feel remote jobs, more than remote jobs, working in person is always better because you get to talk to people, you would know 4 different things. But if you're at home, there's pretty much no interaction with another person, or, you know, I mean, there could be an offline chat interaction, but there's more when you talk in person. That's how you learn things. So I think you have to experience where you want to go into, but if you want to know more details, which industry, I can definitely help you out. Heavy industries are mostly based in Florida. And EPC companies are heavily based in Houston. Pharmaceutical companies are heavily based in North Carolina, partly in New Jersey, and pretty much other companies are spread across all over. But yeah, so geographically, that's how the industries are located.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And next question we have for Leela Ji. If a student has past experience in a different domain and now is looking for a software development or a ML internship, how should he or she proceed with his profile or her profile?
So like it would be like I'll not say like everyone's path is like straightforward. Like there are like many people who has basically like industrial background, and they have like changed to software industry by learning few tools or technologies, or coming into like core programming. There are like many cases. Yes, of course you can definitely like I mean, if you have completed your bachelor's or master's in the same background, it's an advantage. But you have to like you have to like whatever field you take, right? You have to like learn the skill. You have to like do a lot of like practice. You have to like take a few mock interviews and see how things work. And if it's like working good for you, then like create a resume and you just apply to the job. Hope like everything goes good.
Okay.
You have to like basically like work hard and learn. It's okay, it's okay, it's fine, but you can basically.
Thank you. And again, back to Renuka ji, we have a question for you. How important is it to get endorsements on LinkedIn? And does it affect the impression our overall profile creates on the recruiter?
No comments on that, because not everybody would look at the endorsements or the recommendations, but I feel it's a good practice to have. If you can give and take, that would be good, but it wouldn't really affect. I would say it's like a 5% chance that somebody would look at your recommendation. But if you can do it, well and good.
Okay, thank you. And Kumarji, we have a question. Have you hired people directly as a result of networking on LinkedIn? And is there a preference for candidates who apply through the official site of the company versus LinkedIn?
No preference. I just care. I mean, me personally, my focus is only on the profile. I really don't give importance if it is coming through a company portal by filling out a complete profile or directly applied through LinkedIn. But there are some principles for the company as well. Even though they apply through LinkedIn, if I still have to forward that resume to the HR, because they still have to go through the cycle of the HR before it comes back to me again for a team interview or one-to-one interview. At that point, they still have to apply for the position in the portal. But if someone reaches out to me, hey Kumar, this is my resume. I actually do post sometimes. If I'm hiring, I do post in LinkedIn directly. So some people reach out to me, and I just take the resumes and I just send it to HR. Again, I think every manager has their own style. I think there's no definitive answer. I would say don't think applying through only company website is the way. Basically, you have to, every individual who's coming out of the college, especially in core industry, they have to apply jobs wherever they see. There is no specific rule. I personally applied for more than 100 jobs in every 2-3 days. Like I used to constantly change resume, put trigger words. Even with experience, it was very hard for me to find my first job with H-1B sponsorship or visa sponsorship. I'm not sure everyone here needs that, but it's hard to find. So I would say don't look, just apply for it. Don't worry about cover letter. I don't think no hiring manager has time to go through a cover letter these days. Just go. Indeed is the best. And I would say first focus on LinkedIn Easy Apply, where you don't have to go through the entire process. In few clicks, you're just applying for the position. And then who is making the post, connect with them and send a message to them after the fact as well. Because that's the easy way to reach out to the people.
Well, thank you. And Renuka ji, did you want to add something?
Yes. Does it matter if an application comes through via LinkedIn or through the company website? Doesn't make any difference. But that being said, speaking from a large company as such, what I observe is, if I say I'm hiring for software development roles, we at Amazon, we have 25,000 roles open for software development at this point of time. So that being said, it's really hard for us to get the right kind of profiles. So LinkedIn would be the best place. People like us, against our profile, we have the jobs that we have tagged against our profiles. If you go there, if you apply and you just send me a message saying, hey, I have applied to this role, that would make it stand out because I would know that the right kind of candidate has applied. That being said, LinkedIn, when you have your profile up there, again, have keywords that would make you stand out for the job that you want, because we use LinkedIn Recruiter heavily, and out there we make searches. Like, for example, if I need someone to have experience in Java, I would put the keyword as Java. So just make sure that you have all the keywords in your LinkedIn profile. That is, these skills you should have. You just don't put Java just because you want to get in. Put it if you have the right kind of experience. That is something that I would like to add. And then thirdly, somebody did mention employee referrals. That is the best way to go ahead and apply, because when you reach out to a person A saying, hey, I'm interested in this role, it's like you've already passed one round of interview, informal interview, because that person would know that you're a good fit. Or if that person refers the company, that this person to us, we know that they are a good fit and they're already kind of vetted them personally once. So employee referrals are the number one for me. Even internally, when it comes to Amazon, when we hire, around 40% of candidates come through employee referrals. So I cannot stress enough on that.
Yeah. Thank
Neha,
you.
I just want to, I'll take one more minute here.
Yeah, sure.
Also, I think through LinkedIn, I think it is very important, in my opinion, to reach out to, let's say, hey, he's vice president operations, or his director operations, or his HR director, or reach out to the technical person as well in the LinkedIn directly. Even though that company doesn't have a job posting in their web portal, there might be an opening in their company. You never know. I got 2 of my jobs. I got not because it was posted in the company website. I was ahead of the game and I reached out to the, the head of the company, or, because they were still in the process of opening that position. But now if you reach out to them directly, you are ahead of the game than anyone else. So don't worry about if there is a position or not. If you like the company profile and if you know the person in the company, just reach out to them. You would not lose anything reaching out to them. The best case would be he would be in your network and he would help you some way or the other down the line. That's my suggestion.
Thank you both for the insights. And I think we have another question, which again, I think both of you will have inputs on. If there are there any specific skills you're looking for? And when you have the right candidate, but if they're lacking in soft skills, how do you balance the decision?
Okay. When it comes to, again, specifically Amazon, around 40% of the emphasis is laid on soft skills, like communication, and we have something called leadership principles. So around 40% of the questions are behavioral based, and it is a key criteria for us to decide whether we want to go ahead and offer the candidate. Questions like earn trust or customer obsession, because Amazon is a customer focused company. So is the candidate customer focused, customer obsessed? So these are key skills when it comes to interviewing and coming up to a decision. And also sometimes I have been part of this called debrief, when after the interview we sit together and come to a decision whether we want to offer the candidate. So I have seen discussions happen that he does not have experience in this particular technology, but that is trainable. But I see that he is an Amazonian because he has all the leadership principles. And then they go ahead and offer the candidate, and they come to a decision on who will train this particular person and bring him up to speed. So here at Amazon, a lot of emphasis is laid on leadership principles compared to the coding capabilities.
Okay. Did you have anything to add, Kumarji?
No, I think in manufacturing industry, you really, I mean, we really cannot put any skill because plant experience is completely different and it will not be taught in any, I mean, you might know the fundamentals behind it, but when you do masters in some specific colleges, their curriculum is more driven into like, let's say, I know Lamar has a very good chemical engineering curriculum. So, and it is known for good candidates in Houston market, at least in number of hirings that were done. And most of the oil and gas companies are EPC, environmental or erection, procurement, and construction industries. They look for individuals who have those skills on the resume that were taught in their college. They don't have to have experience with those profiles, but at least a college project or something that would help. And there are a few colleges where you have to do dissertation or thesis, like, you know, on any project, we're working with the professor and you write papers, you do research, you do lab work, and that is nothing but experience. So you basically have to apply, look for companies that matches with your research experience and, you know, go from there. I think for an entry level, even if you don't have anything, I think the companies would still hire if there is a requirement. Basically, you have to approach in the right time, or you have to go through some consulting firm again, try to get some background experience, or, you know, brush your basics of industries, and then they would promote your profile. There are so many companies that are doing that right now, even for core industry. Before, there were not many industries who were doing that for core industries. But now there are a lot of industries or a lot of other consulting firms who will still brush you up for some basics before they put your profile in the market. So, I think it all funnels down to, is he approachable? Is he workable with? Does he have the right attitude? Or did he do any project? You know, any project in the college or any internship? That's the key things that, you know, for an entry level candidate. You don't have to have so much years of experience to crack an entry level. I got my first job with no experience. I mean, because that was not the requirement. They just said new graduate, I applied for it and I got it.
Okay. All right. I think that was our last question. And I think, unfortunately, Leela Ji had some issues with his connection, so he dropped out of the meeting. So, do any of you have any final thoughts you would like to share with our audience here before we move ahead with the vote of thanks?
No, I would say best of luck to everyone. And if you guys have anything, don't hesitate to reach out. You never know what is out there for you. Don't give a second thought if I should reach out or not, because I have seen people thinking twice before sending message. This is a huge world and no one has time to keep tabs. You just have to apply, reach out to people. And you never know when you will hit the bullseye, you will get the job. So, but don't at the same time, but be proactive is my 2 cents. We should never be reactive, or let's say my friend applied, oh, let me go apply in the same company, because now you are reactive, you're not proactive. Proactive is you have to be ahead of the game. I see I did the same mistake too. I used to talk to people, my friends, and they say, oh yeah, there is a job out there in California. Oh yeah, there is so-and-so questions, so-and-so reviews, and now I'm completely reactive because I already know some aspects of it. If you're reactive, it might help in some ways, but in my opinion, most of the times you are too late in the game because by then someone else already took the job. So be proactive, reach out to people, build your network. That's all. That is most important thing.
So yeah, to add on my end, be confident.
Thank you for the insights.
Okay, so yes, definitely. I've been learning a lot from you, Kumarji. So thank you for the insights too. So yeah, coming to my end, I would say, first of all, be confident, enjoy the journey. Secondly, keep applying, because I met someone who said, hey, I asked her, you're a good fit for this particular company. Why don't you apply? She said, I applied 5 years ago and they did not respond, so I'm not going to apply. I said, no, that's not what happens. It's 5 years, right? A lot would have changed. The company would have changed. The hiring manager would have changed. And if she would have applied, she might have gotten. So till you get your job, just go ahead, please go ahead, apply. Secondly, it's okay to tweak your resume according to the job description. You can have different resumes for different jobs. Then thirdly, your resume, keep it as your name. That's the best way you can keep it, rather than have a date or some random thing. Just keep it as a name. That creates a good impression. So these are three key things I would want to say.
All right. So thank you so much again, both of you. And I would like to hand it over to Arjun for our vote of thanks.
Yes, thank you, Neha. We couldn't conclude this event without thanking all the people that made it possible. So firstly, I'd like to thank our speakers. All of them, they made time for us on a Sunday evening or afternoon, depending on their end. Thank you so much for taking your time out. The insights were very helpful. I'm sure all of our participants appreciate it. Secondly, I'd like to thank our university partners who helped us spread the word on this event. Indian Student Association from the University of Michigan, Think India, Purdue, Rackham Student Government, also from University of Michigan. We have the ISA from the Purdue Northwest University, and also the students from the Stevens College of New York. So big thanks to all of them. Last but not least, I would also like to thank our Bharatiyam chapters. There's the Boston chapter and the Bay Area chapter, and also the Indiana chapter, which helped us in spreading the word on this one. So thank you for all of them in helping us in this way.
Thank you everyone once again. And we have added the links to the Bharatiyam announcements and job groups in the chat. So please join these two groups, and these two groups are set in a way that only admins can post, so you don't have to worry about any spammers in them. And also, please feel free to connect with any of us if you have any questions about Bharatiyam. And please join our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can email any of us if you have any questions. And thank you so much to our speakers once again for your time and your valuable insights. I'm sure on behalf of all the audience, I'm very sure they got a lot from this, and it's going to benefit them a lot when they're applying for jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharatiyam, for giving this opportunity. It was a lot of learning here.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good evening. Bye.